Alright, so I want to show you my two ATVs from China. They are both electric, and I just want to go through it and give you a little bit of a rundown on what kind of specs that they have and what I've realized so far about them. Kind of the idea of this video is, so if you want an electric ATV, there isn't a lot of videos, unbiased videos out there, and I figure if I were to just make some videos about these, you might have a better idea of what you'd be getting yourself into if you were to get one. So these are China, so they're obviously cheaper. There are some in the US that you can get that are probably higher quality, but definitely more power, and they're a lot more expensive though, so there is that. So I think if you were to watch this video and the accompanying videos about the performance that they have, you might have a better idea of what you're getting yourself into, and if these can do what you need, then then the higher quality ones probably can as well. So to start off, they are mostly for utility. They do go about 32 miles an hour, give or take. So they're not too bad for trail, but they're batteries, so your range is limited regardless. So if you need something that's for doing trail riding or mudding or just going off in the woods for a long distance, these are not for you. They will not work for you, so just keep looking, I guess. For the most part, these are more for utility. So if you have a need for, say, an electric golf cart or something for your property around, around the neighborhood, doing utility around the yard, then this is kind of like a comparison to those, only they're in four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive ATV format, and definitely faster regardless. So with that being said, we will go into a little bit of the details. So the orange one is a 5,000 watt, 60 volt, 52 amp hour system. It's only two-wheel drive. It is bigger than the yellow one by, I don't know, pretty good clip. Style wise, it's definitely better. It has the plastic guards over the front rack and the rear rack, which it looks nice, but it makes it harder to get your tie downs to it and not risk breaking stuff. But other than that, they do look nice. The manufacturers that originally made these they made gas ATVs. That was their main product line, and these are basically retrofitted, or it's on the original gas platform and evident by gas can, which is an actual gas tank, but obviously not used because it's electric. Some of the features this one has is, well, for starters, it has a rear differential with a 90-degree gear to the 5,000 watt motor. So it's not chain driven, which I know a lot of the Chinese ATVs are chain driven, which that's obviously lower quality. So I do kind of like that the differential is pretty substantial. They are disc brakes all the way around. And this one does come with a hitch, and you probably couldn't put too much on there. It's stuck under there pretty well, so if you had too much of a tongue on your trailer, you'd have a hard time with it anyway. But if you're going to do a lot of heavy towing, you're probably not going to use one of these anyway. These are more for light trailers and just smaller things like that. So you can see the shock up there. Tail lights look pretty nice. The wheels are, let's see, they're 22 by 10-10 with aluminum rims, and these are a little bit wider and shorter than the front ones, which are taller and skinnier, and those are 23 by 7-10, and yeah, they're just a little taller in front. In the front here, you can see it's a different kind of shock with a little canister on the side. There's your discs again and your arms. There is space for a winch, though I didn't get one for this. I don't know if I will. The other one has one, so I don't think I'll probably even need it. The controller is kind of nice, or the speedometer, I guess you will. It's in miles per hour, and Also has like the battery range, what's left, how many volts, that kind of stuff. And there's also another display right here that displays that stuff too. And here is the reverse, neutral, and drive shifter. And then it has probably most of your standard utensils up here. Handbrake, there's your foot brake down there. Has horn, high beams, blinkers, hazards, parking brake. So this one we've had so far probably 31 miles an hour. Like I say, this is for utility, so I don't really care how fast it goes. The torque is more than I would like. It barely, like on this tower here, you can break them loose, but just barely. But if I'm doing utility, that's something that I don't want. If I'm hauling a little trailer around the yard to bring my sprayer around, I don't want it to have that much torque. So there is a little gauge up there, or a push button, that I can turn that down a little bit. And I think under the hood, which there actually is a hood, there's a way to dial that down even further. And I'm gonna have to look into that, because it's more power than I want it to have. If you're gonna buzz around the neighborhood, you probably want it to go faster, but for utility, it's just too much. But we do like this one. This is it's definitely quieter than the yellow one. Maybe just because the motor is a better motor, but also the yellow one is actually four-wheel drive, so there's linkage that is always moving, and that gives you some clunks and whatnot. So this orange one is a lot quieter, and it just feels more substantial. The weld quality is not very good. All I really care about, I don't care about cosmetics. All I really care about is if the welds hold, and that, I guess we'll be able to tell over time how that does. I don't care how bad it is cosmetically, but it is a much larger unit, and I guess it's less like a toy. So driving that thing around, I don't feel like I'm driving a Chinese toy. We'll go to the yellow one here. So this is a four-wheel drive, which is two 2,000 watt motors that are 60 volt and 50 amp hour. And so how it works is, here in the rear differential, you'll see that's the 2,000 watt motor, and in the front there's the same. So you can just turn the front on and off at any time, so you can have two-wheel drive. But if you do that, then you're only running off 2,000 watts versus both of them are running off 4,000 watts. So it is actually faster in four-wheel drive, because you're doubling the power that's being actually driven. And it does get, it's probably a little bit faster than the orange one in four-wheel drive, even though it's less watts. But you can, like I said, you can turn that down easier on this guy. There is a little switch right there that you can have medium, low, and high. And kind of funny is, we didn't even realize there was a high. We just reached our arm down there and turned it. And by doing that, we went from low to medium. And just today, I realized that if you put it right in the middle, that's high. And it's actually a lot more power than I thought it had. And I'm actually more happy with it than I was. So on this guy, also comes with a hitch. And there's nothing supporting here. It's only here and here welded. And you can see that's quite the distance. So putting a heavy trailer on there is a lot of moments downward. So I don't know how heavy of a trailer you could tow, but just like I said earlier, is if you have a lot of heavy trailers to tow, you're not going to use these anyway. These are for lighter trailers. And this one also has disc brakes all the way around, and it's not chain driven, it's direct to the differential. It has the same tires, which are a little wider here and shorter than the tall ones there. Here is turns it into four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive. Has all the same gadgets and gizmos up here, except for the display is definitely cheaper. I'm sure there's a way to turn it to miles an hour, but I haven't found that yet. So currently it's kilometers an hour. This one does have a winch, and that's the controller here. And that winch is just a small 2,000 pound. It's nothing to write home about. The front end, to me, looks kind of like a bug. I don't like it. It does look like a Chinese ATV, and that's what it is. And I'm sure you've seen the gas versions that have the same kind of front end all over the place. It's just not as cosmetically appealing as I would like. Has similar shocks, and you can see here is the CV axle going into the front. So, and that does make a little bit of noise even when you're not in four-wheel drive. So you do get a little bit of clunking because of that, but it's not too bad. It's still way quieter than a gas ATV. The metal rack up here, well, here you can see some of these welds aren't good at all. But as long as they have enough penetration to hold on, then I'm happy. I don't care what they look like. This is a lot easier to get your tie downs to, so you can actually strap stuff on way easier and not worry about breaking stuff. There wasn't instruction manuals in these, so I had to figure it all out on my own, but the manufacturer has been really good in answering any questions I had. And so I guess I'm not too concerned with that, but an instruction manual would have been nice. But you know, you just turn the key and put it in drive and go, so there isn't a whole lot to it. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some testing to see like how fast they go, how much hill they can climb, how big of a trailer you can hold. So what I'd like to do is hear from anybody who's watching this to see what kind of tests would you like me to do on these. And that is the point of this video and the series of videos, is so that you know what you're getting yourself into if you were to buy one of these or a better version. So let me know what you want me to test with it, and I'll do what I can to make that happen. But that's all I got for you right now. Thank you very much.